After years of trusting my husband to manage our finances while I worked double shifts just to afford $60 dance lessons for our daughter, I uncovered a secret bank account, a hidden condo, and a double life with another woman who is quietly trying to replace me as mommy. Now I'm gathering evidence and planning the ultimate reveal. Timothy and I met 8 years ago under truly unusual circumstances. We were both unexpectedly stuck in a small-town diner during the colossal flooding of 2016. Roads were impassable, cell service non-existent, so we spent 6 hours playing cards with locals. He brought unexpected humor to a stressful situation. Once connectivity returned, we exchanged Instagrams, started dating a month later, and married within 2 years. Our daughter, Avery, is now 6, the absolute best part of my life. She's a tiny whirlwind of energy, perpetually dancing, spinning, and leaping onto furniture, despite my countless warnings. A few months ago, she came home from school incessantly chattering about her friend Olivia's dance lessons, detailing the real ballet shoes, and pleading to take classes too. I thought it a brilliant idea. Avery possessed boundless energy, and dance seemed an ideal outlet. When I broached the subject with Timothy that evening, his reaction was peculiar. He merely glanced up from his phone and snorted dismissively, a sound that instantly ignited my defensiveness. He declared we couldn't afford luxuries like dance classes on a salary alone, adding that if I desired expensive pursuits for Avery, I should contribute more financially. This completely blindsided me. I'd reduced my hours to part-time after Avery's birth, a mutual decision, and to my knowledge, we weren't financially strained. We lived in a modest home, owned 2 older, paid-off cars, and while extravagant vacations were absent, I never imagined $60 a month for dance was unachievable. When I expressed this, Timothy instantly pulled up our bank app, showing the meager balance after monthly obligations. The figure seemed off, though I couldn't pinpoint why. He had always managed our finances, possessing a knack for numbers, so I acquiesced to finding a second job. I secured an evening position at a nearby diner. The schedule was brutal. My main job by day, then waiting tables for nights weekly. I'd return home utterly drained, feet aching, permeated by the scent of frying oil. Timothy dismissed my fatigue as dramatic. He actually uttered words I'll never forget. I didn't deserve to be tired if my financial contributions were so slight. I swallowed my indignation, reminding myself the sacrifice was for Avery's dance classes. Yet, 3 months into my second job, Avery remained unenrolled. Each time I mentioned it, Timothy provided an excuse. The good studio was full. We should await the next session. We needed to save more. Concurrently, I began noticing discrepancies. Avery mentioned zoo visits with Timothy on my work nights, or came home with new toys I hadn't bought, or spoke of Daddy's friend Lisa. When I casually inquired, Timothy explained Lisa was a co-worker undergoing a divorce, occasionally joining them due to loneliness. He claimed she was good with kids and offered adult conversation during my shifts. It sounded plausible, I suppose. However, Avery's comments became increasingly peculiar. She'd say Lisa took better photos than Mommy, or ask if Lisa could attend her birthday. The most alarming incident was when she began calling me Marera. When I questioned it, she shrugged. Lisa calls you Marera, so I thought that was your name too. This instantly raised serious alarms. I discreetly checked Timothy's Instagram and Facebook. No suspicious Lisa. When I tried to gently reintroduce the topic, he grew irritable, accusing me of paranoia and stating his friendships were off limits. Things truly began to unravel 3 months ago. I came home early one night. The diner was low. The house was empty, Timothy's car gone, and he wasn't answering texts. He eventually replied they were getting ice cream and would be home soon. An hour later, they arrived. Avery wore a brand new outfit I'd never seen and excitedly recounted a cartoon movie, not ice cream. Her description clearly included Lisa. After Avery was asleep, I confronted Timothy. I demanded to know why he lied about their whereabouts, why Avery had new clothes when dance classes were supposedly unaffordable, and Lisa's actual role. He gave me a cold look I'd never seen, retorting, "Perhaps if you were more entertaining, she'd still call you Mommy." I stood there, shocked, angry, hurt, uttering no response. I simply nodded and retreated. What words could possibly address such a statement? That exchange was 5 months ago. Since then, I've been diligently observing, and the pattern is clear. Timothy has work dinners invariably coinciding with my days off. Avery occasionally mentions staying at Lisa's house during my overnight shifts. Our credit card shows charges for restaurants and movies on nights Timothy claimed he was working late. Timothy sports new clothes, a fancy smartwatch, yet Avery's dance classes remain an impossible expense. Last week, while tidying Avery's room, I found a stack of photos in her dresser. Images of her, Timothy, and an unknown woman at an amusement park, a water park, a Christmas gathering. Dates on the back confirmed this had been ongoing for over a year, before my second job. The woman, presumably Lisa, was attractive and an Instagram influencer, way, blonde, perfect teeth, effortlessly expensive clothes likely costing a week of my diner wages. In one photo, Avery wore a real dance outfit, tutu and all. The date was over a year old. He must have taken her to classes then stopped. She never told me, and I only learned when Olivia mentioned it again. So, he claimed we couldn't afford dance classes, made me get a second job, all while taking our daughter to classes with another woman and spending lavishly. Yesterday, Avery innocently asked if Lisa would someday be her new mommy. Just like that over breakfast. I nearly dropped my mug. I asked what prompted it. She shrugged, because Daddy and Lisa are special friends, and she sleeps in Daddy's room when I stay at her house. I'm utterly at a loss with this information. I haven't confronted Timothy yet. I need a strategic approach. An impulsive outburst would only harm Avery. So, here's my plan. I'm requesting financial records for the past year. I'm adjusting my diner shifts to align with Avery's schedule. I'm meticulously collecting every piece of evidence. I have a lawyer's appointment next week. I'm done being gaslit, done toiling to exhaustion while my husband builds a new family with another woman, done watching my daughter drift away. I feel like I'm living in an alternate reality, where everything I thought I knew was a deception. First update. My initial inquiries have yielded deeply troubling information. Recalling my plan to request financial records, I acted more directly. Timothy had always managed our finances, claiming I lacked aptitude for money. Our main account was joint, but he'd set up online banking years ago, and I realized I no longer had the login. My remembered password failed. Instead of asking him, which would have instantly tipped him off, I went directly to our bank branch last Wednesday during my lunch break. The teller was initially skeptical, but upon seeing my ID and clarifying I was a joint account holder seeking financial oversight, she became very helpful. What I uncovered made me physically ill. Right there in the bank lobby. For the past 18 months, Timothy had been systematically transferring funds, usually $300 to $500, to a separate, undisclosed account. These transfers occurred like clockwork on the first of every month, supplemented by additional random sums, sometimes small, sometimes larger, coinciding with his supposed work trips. The total exceeded $20,000 in the last year alone. $20,000. While I worked double shifts for months because we supposedly couldn't afford $60 a month for dance classes, an amount less than he sometimes transferred in a single day to this secret account. But it worsened significantly. The statements showed regular charges at numerous unfamiliar places, restaurant bills far higher than our family outings, hotel charges in nearby cities, and a jewelry purchase over $1,000 at Christmas. My gift from him that year was a $20 Target scarf, which I had appreciated, believing we were on a tight budget. After the bank, I returned home and did something unprecedented. I searched Timothy's desk drawers while he was at work. I felt like a criminal in my own home, hands trembling, sifting through papers. What I found was more damning. A credit card statement for an account solely in Timothy's name revealed charges for plane tickets to Florida 3 months prior. During the week, he claimed to be at an upstate training conference. 2 tickets, one for him, one for Lisa Harrington. I photographed everything for evidence. Then, I found the property tax statement for a condominium across town that I had no idea we owned, or rather, that Timothy exclusively owned. His name alone was on the document, purchased a year ago. It clicked. Avery went to this separate property on my late work nights, not Lisa's house. My husband bought it without my knowledge. Everything suddenly made sense. For months, I had been killing myself at the diner for a few hundred extra dollars, money he didn't even need. I believed he forced me into that second job because we were struggling. But now I saw its true purpose, a way to keep me busy, out of the house, too exhausted to ask questions. If I was gone every night, Lisa became the one doing bedtime, making pancakes, playing mommy. That second job wasn't about dance classes, it was about getting me out of the way. I spent the afternoon in a strange, calm shock, methodically photographing everything, meticulously returning each item. Then, I sat on our back porch, staring blankly until it was time to pick up Avery. As she ran out, her face lighting up at seeing me instead of Timothy. He usually did Wednesday pickups. I made a decision. No more diner shifts during her waking hours, no more missing bedtimes or school events, no more letting this other woman usurp my place. That night, I called the diner and rearranged my schedule. Early morning shifts before Avery woke, and only 2 evening shifts on weekends when she had friends' activities. Less money, but I'd rather eat ramen than miss another moment of her childhood. Timothy was surprised, asking if I was quitting the second job entirely. I just smiled, saying I wanted more time with Avery. He looked uncomfortable, mumbling about needing the extra income. I shrugged, saying I'd make it work. The next day, I took Avery for ice cream after school, just us. She initially seemed shy, which broke my heart. But by the time we finished our Sundays, she was chattering joyfully. I casually asked if she still wanted dance classes. Her entire face lit up. I drove straight to Olivia's dance studio and enrolled her immediately, paying for 3 months in advance with my own tip savings. When I told Avery, she literally jumped with excitement. She asked when she could tell Lisa. I kept my voice neutral, saying Lisa didn't need to know everything. This could be our special thing, just Mom and Avery. That weekend was Avery's first class. I bought her a proper leotard and the ballet slippers she'd yearned for. Timothy was unusually quiet when we returned with her dance gear, asking where the money came from. I simply said I'd been saving for something special for Avery. He didn't press, but I could sense his displeasure. Over the next few weeks, I kept digging. I found Lisa's Instagram, private, but her profile pic confirmed her, and her LinkedIn, same company as Timothy, no surprise. I found the condo registration, purchased just 2 months after he told me to tighten our belts and pick up extra shifts. Every discovery fueled my anger, but also my resolve. I started making backup copies of vital documents, opened my own bank account at a different institution, and began transferring small amounts from my diner tips into it. I asked my mom to hold copies of the evidence just in case. I mentioned to her that Timothy and I were having issues, but didn't elaborate yet. Last Tuesday, I had a consultation with a lawyer. I laid everything out. The secret accounts, the condo, the trips. She listened without judgment, taking notes, asking clarifying questions. When I finished, she asked what I wanted. I realized I hadn't articulated it, even to myself. What did I want? I want my daughter back fully. I want financial stability independent of a man who's lied for years. I want to never again feel crazy for questioning things that don't add up. I want Lisa out of my family's life. I want Timothy to face consequences. The lawyer nodded. With the financial evidence and documentation of his relationship with Lisa, I had strong grounds for a favorable divorce settlement. She advised continuing to gather evidence, but cautioned against tipping my hand prematurely. Meanwhile, things with Avery improved daily. She loved dance, asked me to practice, and instead of mentioning Lisa, she called me Mommy, again for the first time in months. I had to excuse myself to the bathroom to cry. Timothy became increasingly nervous, checking his phone more often, coming home late, leaving early. Yesterday, I overheard him on the phone in our backyard, speaking in a hushed, tense voice, catching fragments about suspicious, asking questions, need more time. I pretended not to notice. Last night, things culminated unexpectedly. Timothy came home agitated, pacing the kitchen while I made dinner, checking his watch. He finally asked when I'd give up this dance class nonsense, calling it an unnecessary expense. I kept chopping vegetables, stating Avery loved classes and I'd paid for 3 months. He slammed his hand on the counter, demanding to know where I got the money. I looked up, knife in hand, and told him I'd been saving my tips. That money I earned was mine to spend, especially on our daughter. His face contorted, torn between anger and fear. He stormed out, slamming the door. Avery heard, came running, asking where Daddy went. I hugged her, saying he needed some air. We had a girls' night, pizza, nail painting, practicing dance moves. He didn't return until after midnight. I feigned sleep. This morning, I got a text from Timothy's mom, asking if we were still coming to their anniversary party next weekend. She mentioned they were excited to see us, and his dad was eager to finally meet Timothy's friend Lisa, who would also be attending. Read that again. His parents' anniversary party, where he'd invited Lisa. His parents, apparently knowing about her, but believing she was just a friend. I texted back that we'd of course be there, and how nice it would be to meet Lisa myself. Screenshot saved. Then I called my lawyer. This was the perfect opportunity to reveal everything. A family gathering where Timothy couldn't make a scene, where his parents would be witnesses, where Lisa would be present, and where I could finally stop pretending. The lawyer thought it risky but potentially effective, suggesting I bring printed copies of key financial documents. Nothing easily dismissed or explained away. So, that's where things stand. 1 week until the anniversary party. I'm terrified but strangely calm. I've started assembling what my mom would call a F*******U folder. Copies of bank statements, property records, photos, everything neatly organized, undeniable evidence. I'm done being the exhausted waitress working double shifts while my husband builds a secret life with another woman. I'm done being gaslit about finances. I'm done watching another woman try to take my place as Avery's mother. Second update. 4 days have passed since my last entry, and events are accelerating. I'm writing this from my mom's guest room at 2 a.m., sleepless. This week has been an emotional whirlwind. The anniversary celebration is tomorrow, and I've been preparing intensely. However, something unexpected happened yesterday that has slightly unsettled me. Let me recount everything since my last post. The day after discovering Timothy planned to bring Lisa to his parents' anniversary party, I took a calculated risk. I called his mom directly, a rarity, as Timothy usually handles family communications. I casually mentioned looking forward to meeting Lisa at the party and asked what she knew. A peculiar silence followed, then his mom confirmed everything. She explained Timothy had told her Lisa was helping with Avery while I focused on my career with my second job, that I struggled balancing motherhood and work, and Lisa was just stepping in as a friend. His mom even sounded sympathetic towards Lisa, this woman sleeping with my husband and playing mommy to my daughter. She mentioned Timothy brought Lisa to their house for dinner last month when I was working late, ironically, to supposedly help our family finances. I made vague, agreeable noises and ended the call before saying anything I'd regret. Then, I sat in my car in the Target parking lot and screamed into my jacket for about 5 minutes. After that call, I reached out to my own mom. I'd kept her somewhat in the dark about the severity because she lives 3 hours away and I didn't want to worry her. But I needed backup, so I finally told her everything. Mom was furious, not just at Timothy, but at me for not telling her sooner. We had an intense conversation where she kept insisting on driving up immediately, and I kept insisting I needed to handle this myself. We compromised. She'd come the day after the party to help with Avery, while I dealt with the aftermath. With that support secured, I focused on 3 priorities: strengthening my bond with Avery, finalizing my evidence collection, and mentally preparing for what was coming. For Avery, I've been fully committed to dance class. I joined the parent class I mentioned, and while I'm honestly terrible at it, seriously, I have the coordination of a newborn giraffe. Avery finds it hilariously endearing. She's been teaching me the moves, all serious and professional like a tiny dance instructor. It's become our special thing. Wednesday afternoon, I picked her up early from school and took her for ice cream. As we sat with our sundaes, she asked something that broke my heart again. She wanted to know if I was mad at her for liking Lisa. I took a deep breath, telling her I could never be mad for her caring about someone, and that grown-up issues between Daddy, Lisa, and me weren't her fault or problem. She seemed relieved, but then dropped another bombshell. She wanted to know if Lisa would live with them at the other house, all the time now. I asked what she meant by the other house. She explained it matter-of-factly. Daddy and Lisa have a house where she sometimes stays, with a pretty pink room just for her, filled with toys that don't fit at her house. She even has her own unicorn toothbrush there. So, there it was, confirmation. The condo I discovered in Timothy's name was essentially Lisa's place, where they'd been playing house with my daughter. They'd set up a whole parallel life, complete with a bedroom for Avery. I managed to keep it together, asking a few more questions as if merely curious, despite my world again tilting on its axis. I learned the other house had a pool and that Miss Lisa made excellent Mickey Mouse-shaped pancakes. That night, after Avery was asleep, I laid out every piece of evidence: bank statements, property records, photos, text screenshots. I created what my lawyer called a divorce documentation package, neatly organized in a folder, with copies stored digitally and physically in multiple locations, with my mom, in my personal email, and in a new Google Drive account Timothy knew nothing about. Then, I did something unplanned. I drove by the condo address. I didn't intend to go inside or confront anyone. I just needed to see it. It was in one of those fancy new mixed-use developments downtown, with boutique shops and luxury apartments, the kind that costs more monthly than our mortgage. The next day, Timothy started acting strangely. He came home early from work, an unheard-of occurrence, asking unusually specific questions about my schedule, who watched Avery at the diner, and if my mom was visiting soon. At one point, he picked up my phone from the counter, asking if I'd changed my passcode. I hadn't. I'd been careful not to change any normal patterns. I told him no. He must be misremembering. He tried again, got in, scrolled quickly, then put it down as if nothing happened. That night, he suggested we talk about our relationship, this from a man who avoided serious conversations our entire marriage. He began, acknowledging recent difficulties but believing we could work through this phase, suggesting I cut back on the diner job since it caused stress. I just nodded, saying I'd think about it. Inside, alarm bells rang. He knew something was up. Maybe Lisa saw me at the condo. Maybe his mom mentioned our call. Maybe he noticed the copied financial documents I'd returned. Friday morning, yesterday, I woke to find Timothy gone. Odd for a weekday. His side of the bed wasn't slept in. Avery said he left before she woke. I dropped Avery at school, then met with my lawyer one final time before the party. We reviewed evidence, discussed confrontation approach, and what to expect. She warned Timothy might gaslight, get angry, or try to turn his family against me, but with the evidence, denial would be hard. When I got home, a vase of roses with a card reading, "I love our family." Tea sat on the kitchen counter. In 8 years, Timothy sent me flowers twice, dating and after Avery's birth. These weren't apology flowers. They were I know you know something flowers. I put them in the guest bathroom and carried on. By the time I picked up Avery, I had 17 missed calls from Timothy. I texted my phone was silent during a meeting, asking if everything was okay. He called immediately, panicked, asking where I was, where Avery was. I said we were heading to the mall for Avery's party outfit. He calmed, said he'd be home for dinner, asked for a family night. I agreed. He showed up with pizza and ice cream, Avery's favorites, spent the evening being super dad. After Avery went to bed, he sat closer to me on the couch than in months. He talked about a family vacation soon, just as three, our future, Avery needing both parents. I just watched his performance, wondering if he believed I bought it. He reached for my hand. I let him. It seemed easier. His palm was sweaty. He asked if I was still going to his parents' party tomorrow. Of course, why wouldn't I be? The relief on his face was almost comical. Then he casually mentioned Lisa probably wouldn't make it, something about a family emergency. I just nodded. Too bad. I was looking forward to meeting her. This morning, I woke to Timothy watching me sleep. Not romantically, but nervously monitoring. When I opened my eyes, he quickly pretended to just be getting up, asked if I wanted breakfast, if we should take Avery to the park before his parents' house. I smiled. Sure, that sounded nice. Then I showered. Coming out, I caught him scrolling through my phone again. He didn't see me. I cleared my throat. He jumped, dropping my phone. That's when I decided on a backup plan. After breakfast, I told Timothy I needed a quick errand for his parents' gift. Instead, I drove to my mom's, told her everything from the last few days, and asked if she could come back with me now. Mom didn't hesitate, packed in 10 minutes, and we drove back. When we pulled in, Timothy was on the porch, arms crossed, looking ghost-struck seeing my mom. The next few hours were a weird dance, Timothy charming my mom, shooting me confused, pained, panicked looks, mom polite but cold, me feigning normalcy while finalizing mental prep. I told Timothy I was staying at mom's tonight to help with a brunch she's hosting. He tried to argue but couldn't with mom there. So here I am at my mom's, with my evidence folder and clothes for tomorrow's party. The party starts at 3 p.m. Timothy thinks I'm meeting him there. His parents expect us both, plus Avery.
My lawyer is on standby.
And Lisa? I have a feeling she'll be there, despite his family emergency claim. Either way, I'm ready. The photos will speak for themselves. Confronting him at his parents' party might seem cruel, but after months of gaslighting, lies, and watching him try to replace me as Avery's mother, I'm done protecting his feelings or reputation. His parents deserve to know who their son really is, and I deserve to reclaim my dignity on my own terms. Final update. 3 weeks have passed since the anniversary party at Timothy's parents' house. I've tried writing this update countless times, typing then deleting because the words wouldn't coalesce. It's hard to process everything, but I owe it to everyone who's been so kind. Thank you, truly. I've read every message, even if I lacked the energy to respond. That day didn't unfold as I envisioned. Mom and I arrived with Avery just after 3. Timothy was already outside, pacing by the driveway. He looked dreadful, unshaven, shirt rumpled, hands fidgeting restlessly. The second I opened the car door, he was on me, insisting we talk alone. I didn't want Avery to see us arguing, so I simply said I'd go in to see his parents first, and kept walking. He followed, muttering something I couldn't catch. Inside, the house was warm and familiar, photos of his parents 40 years together adorning every wall. Maybe 15 or 20 people chatted over drinks. His mom approached, hugged Avery, complimenting her dress, then turned to me. She was glad I made it, because Timothy had told her I might be stuck at work. It stung, realizing he'd been planting excuses. I told her I'd rearranged my schedule weeks ago to be there. She hesitated, then smiled and moved on. I had the folder with me, bank statements, photos, property papers. When people started sitting down for lunch, I handed it to his mom. I said it was something she should see about our family. She opened it, started flipping through the transfers to that secret account, the pictures of Timothy and Lisa with Avery, the condo records. Her face changed, as if she couldn't believe what she held. Timothy reached for it, saying it wasn't what it looked like, but his dad stepped in, took the folder, and started reading too. He said nothing, just went page by page. Timothy tried explaining, saying I'd misunderstood, that the money was for something else, that the photos were old. It sounded hollow. His dad looked up after a minute and asked if it was all true. Timothy stumbled over some excuse about our marriage being tough, but it didn't land. His mom asked why I hadn't told them sooner. I said I'd only found out the full truth recently. She nodded, torn. Then Lisa walked in. It was maybe half an hour later. I heard the doorbell, and there she was, holding a gift bag, smiling like she belonged. Timothy went pale, rushed over, and started whispering, trying to get her to leave. She saw me, hesitated, but said nothing. His sister got to her first, asking if she knew Timothy was married. Lisa said yes, but he told her they were separated, just staying together for Avery. His sister showed her a photo from the folder, us at Christmas, all three, and asked how separated that looked. Lisa had no answer. She left a few minutes later, Timothy trailing after her, saying he'd explain everything to his family later. Avery was outside the whole time, thankfully playing with my mom and some cousins, away from it all. His dad came over to me after a while, asked if everything I'd brought was accurate. I said it was. He nodded, said he was sorry, and that was it. His mom kept moving between guests, but I caught her looking at me, wanting to say more. She finally asked if we could talk privately later, but I said I needed to get Avery home soon. I thanked them, apologized for how it turned out, and we left. His dad shook my hand. His mom gave me a quick, uncertain hug. That night, Timothy called incessantly. I didn't pick up. The next day, I went to my lawyer and started the divorce paperwork. It's not done. We filed for temporary custody of Avery, but Timothy's pushing back, claiming I'm trying to cut him out. He moved out a few days later, came by when I was at the diner, and took his clothes and some garage items. I think he's at the condo now, but I haven't asked. Avery's been the hardest part. She keeps asking where Daddy is, why he doesn't come home. I tell her we're living apart, but both love her immensely. Some days she accepts it, other days she doesn't. Last weekend, she cried herself to sleep, missing him and Lisa, asking if they're mad at her. I held her, told her it's not her fault, but it broke me. She still mentions things from Lisa's house, the pool, the toys, and I don't know how to handle that yet. I cut my diner shifts to just a few early mornings, so I can be with Avery after school. Money's tight. Timothy's supposed to pay support, but nothing's set until the court decides, and that's taking forever. I'm making it work with my regular job and what's left of my tip savings. Avery's still in dance classes. She loves them too much to stop, and seeing her smile there keeps me going. Timothy's shown up at the diner twice since that night. The first time, he stood by the counter, looking sleep-deprived, asking to talk. I said I was working. My manager told him to leave. The second time, he waited outside until my shift ended, said he'd made a mistake, wanted to fix things. I told him I couldn't do this anymore, and walked away. He's texted a few times since, short messages about missing us, but I haven't replied. His parents called last Sunday. His mom asked how Avery's doing, said they hadn't realized how bad things had gotten. She sounded sad, maybe guilty, but said little else. I told her I didn't hold it against them, but needed time before talking more. I don't know what they're saying to Timothy now. I'm trying to figure out what's next. Some days I feel steady, making dinner with Avery, practicing her dance steps. Other days it hits hard. I'll sit in the car after dropping her at school and just cry, wondering how we got here. The divorce will take months, maybe longer, and I still don't know what'll happen with all that money he hid. It's not over, not clean, but at least I'm not pretending anymore. A few days ago, my lawyer figured out the money's origin. Timothy had been taking side contracts through work, extra jobs he never disclosed, funneling payments into that second account. Quiet, steady, and completely hidden. That's how he paid for the condo, the trips, all of it. While I counted diner tips for ballet shoes, he built a whole second life with money I didn't even know existed.